but and so I mean,
Oh,
So
that makes sense.
so yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
our conversations, we have opportunities for us
It
leading up to you being released.
and then
Part of you that excited as I'm sure you were to was you referencing reluctancy to leave.
mhm.
Was there any nerves? Any of
Yeah.
them?
So
First, before we really get into stuff,
yeah.
I were a couple of soda fans ourselves.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Pepper,
Uh-huh.
she's a
Uh-huh.
it
I
said just okay.
I but so
It's all about preparation. Let's cook first. Like, what was the meal you made together?
okay, so it was
Cooking it's about being in a way, especially when you're connected and doing
yeah,
things
it
going through the abuse. I think the world is fascinated by things that you've maybe your whole life have won. What is this like?
it's funny. I'm definitely a little bit and very concerned about my safety.
Yeah. Okay.
And then and then I never felt safe.
Yeah.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Having sex for the first time with how was that for the first time?
I'm not gonna get into graphic details, but it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And it left me with a lot of insecurities.
Yeah.
Yeah, your one cousin, ship with him at all?
Yeah.
Has to.
So
Documentary. I was again captivated by you spent a lot of time in prison that not everyone chooses to learn from their mistakes. But
mhm,
do you remember that moment? Was there epiphany of like, I don't want to be this person.
mhm,
I actually want to take accountability for the role I played
mhm,
and not let this define me.
mhm. And it's called and it's all about accountability. I had made mistakes. I had made choices. Like teach others what I have learned. And I think it's sad, there are people that don't want to better themselves. But for me, it was, get into GED classes because I wanted to better my
hmm
education.
Those scenes at the end where you're being interrogated by the police
hmm
and you're lying.
Mhm.
Do you think about that? And
I have a pretty clear knowledge of right and wrong now. I don't think I'm like my mother at all. I try actively not to be. She did things in her life. She shoplifted. There was fraud. Like there was a lot of things, criminal activity that she was doing that I grew up in. I
yeah,
watched her do all these things. Um, um, I have a like telling it and doing these interviews are hard enough. Like at the end of the day, I have trauma, and so for me, having to do interviews that I'll have a nightmare reliving it all over again.
creative choice with Nick,
Mhm.
just kind of, some of his,
I did my time. Oh, I'm
It's your turn.
free. I have it's my turn now.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, the murder just happens again and again and again in my mind. I'm not free from the trauma. So my mother, she had magical powers and she'd put a voodoo hex on me if I ever tried to leave. I'm trying to work on self-forgiveness. And so I'm trying to give myself grace. I'm trying to give myself understanding. I'm working with the therapist. It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's that emotional process.
Yeah. One question I had
Mhm.
to go out of your way to
I got arrested and then my attorney visited me and then all of a sudden he's got a stack of paperwork on his desk talking about the Blanchard fraud scheme and people were saying that my mother was a bad mom and I hated my mom. I wanted out of that home. She deserved it. I grew up on Disney princess movies and so I thought like the only escape I had was with a guy. So that was only my form of reference for anything. So I was leaning on different people, just not the right people.
yeah. You referring to other you were just calling you a murderer.
He's the one that did it. I did my sentence. I did my part, I did what the judge wanted me to do. Now that that's over, let me live my life.
Nick was held to anger you, and do you feel like there
We live in a system that's very money hungry and selfish, and so my dad and stepmom tried to look for an attorney that can take my case for a malpractice lawsuit, and I don't think anyone wants to touch it. Like I've not been able to find one.
really?
Yeah, no, that's really surprising, actually.
It seems so obvious.
Maybe there's
Mhm.
some lawyers listening to this.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
some legal advice.
Yeah, that seems shocking and very disappointing. You went to the doctor more than maybe anyone ever,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And every time you went, all these doctors were doing were just confirming the lie that your mother
Mhm.
was telling you. You were failed time and time again.
Mhm. Because it's so sad. There's this imbalance that is going on that either the doctors don't catch it at all, which was in my case,
Mhm.
and then they're putting this diagnosis on people that probably don't have it. And so where is the middle ground? Okay, I always knew that I could walk. However, my mom instructed me to stay in the wheelchair. And so I listened. I was a very obedient child. And as for everything else, the things that is not visible, like leukemia and cancer, every time that my mom would tell me that I was going to the doctor for cancer, I thought that I was going to die. Like I thought that I was
Yeah.
a dying
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
Because cancer you can't see.
Right.
So, there was things that I learned while in jail that, "Oh my god, I'm not dying?
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing."
Oh my
I'm not
gosh.
already dying?
Wow.
What have you thought about, like, what do you want to do with your life now that
Mhm.
you're free?
Yeah, okay, I have this huge platform. Let me use it for something good.
Hmm.
And so I wanna get into advocacy work. I'm selfies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let's have fun with it for a little while. But then let's get to the serious part. Let's start using my platform for something that means something important.
Yeah. Well, you're also still allowed to have some fun too,
Yeah, yeah,
you
of
know?
course, and look good doing
Have
it.
you?
I've always had a very, love-hate relationship with the media and the attention from all of
Well, that
this.
won't go away.
And at this point, I've come to accept it. In the past, oh god, I've hated it. I used to cry on my bed, and I'm just like, "I want a normal life." That's actually I was engaged once before.
Hmm. To
Yeah,
Ken.
to Ken, yeah. And, we were together for 2 years, and then our engagement was announced, and he's a very private person, and so he didn't like the attention. And so I attributed him breaking off the engagement and breaking my heart and devastating me to the fame. And so I definitely spiraled out of control at that time. So that made me hate it, and then seeing how I've been welcomed, that makes me at least feel more comfortable. I won't say love it, but it makes me more comfortable in being who I am.